Hi, I'm Colin. Welcome to Learn Somatics. In this video, I'm going to show you how to release the lower back and the inner thighs together at the same time, essentially. So to begin, we're going to have our knees bent, feet flat, like so. So to begin this movement, we just want to check how open our hips are. So just allow your knees to tip out, and you can roll onto the outside edges of your feet as you do this. So just let your knees tip out as far as you can comfortably. It doesn't matter how far they go. They'll change a bit as we do this. So that's about my limit there. I can feel it's not uncomfortable, but I can feel that they just kind of stop about there. And then come on slowly back up. And notice as you come back up slowly how it's your inner thighs that bring the legs back together. So let's do this a couple of times. Slowly letting the knees tip out, rolling onto the outside edge of our feet, like so. And that's lengthening the adductors, the inner thighs, and then slowly, real slowly bring them together so you can feel how it's your inner thigh muscles that bring your legs together. And you'll probably feel some activity in your lower back or in your trunk. You'll feel how your trunk has to contract a little bit to make a stable position for you to bring your knees together or back up. Okay. Now we're going to let the knees tip out again, but this time I want you to let your back arch a little. So you're going to arch your back as you let your knees tip out. And you'll probably find that this seems to make sense. It's like, oh yeah, if I arch my back, it feels like my hips open more. And then as you start to bring your knees in, let your back flatten down. So you're going to flatten your back down as you bring your knees in. And you'll also feel that that kind of makes sense. It's like, oh yeah, it feels more logical to do it that way. So let's do this a couple of times now. Arching the back as we let the knees tip out. Again, rolling onto the outside edge of the feet. And then flattening the back as we bring the knees slowly back up. So now we're getting not only our inner thigh muscles, we're also getting our lower back muscles and our belly a little bit. Inhaling as we arch and let the knees tip out. So. And then exhaling as we flatten the back down, pressing the back down, and that helps us bring the knees in. One more time, arching to allow the knees to tip out. So arching the back opens the hips, right? It allows the knees to tip out. And then flattening the back slowly as we bring the knees back in. Okay, done a couple of repetitions, so just let your legs lay out flat. And just notice how that feels. You've been arching and flattening your back and tipping the knees out and then bringing them in. So you've been getting the inner thighs, the lower back and the belly a little bit. So you should be feeling some sense of more comfort and relaxation in those areas, particularly in the inner thighs. All right, so let's play with this a little bit. So we know that arching sort of facilitates the knees going out a bit further. So what happens if we were to arch and let the knees tip out? And now if we keep the arch and bring the knees together and go nice and slow, now this is going to feel different. So bring the knees up so that your feet are flat again. And you can even press your knees together a bit, but keep the lower back arched. And again, keeping the lower back arched, let your knees tip out again. So now we're differentiating the two movements. So keep your back arched to a comfortable degree and just a couple of times open the hips up and then bring them together again. Squeeze the knees at the top and then let the hips open again. So your back is staying in a fixed position, but you're moving the hips, you're using your inner thigh muscles. Press the knees together. Slowly let the hips open up. And one last time, keeping the back arched. Bring the knees up, press them together. You'll feel the inner thighs engage. And then slowly let the hips open again. And this time, as you bring your knees up, let your back flatten out again. So back to the original way. Okay. So we've separated the hips opening and closing from the arching back. Now let's do the opposite, which was flattening the back. Okay, so now we're going to flatten our back. So I'll go into an arch, slowly flatten the back, and now I'm actively pressing my lower back into the floor a bit. And keep your back like this, pressed into the floor. You'll feel it makes your belly a little tight. And now let your hips open. Again, just stay within your range of comfort. Don't go into discomfort or stretch. And you'll feel that pressing your back down like this restricts your ability to open the hips a little. So keep your back flat, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to open and close the hips a few times. Come up to the top, press your knees together, and you'll feel how pressing the knees together, that fits more logically with this back flattened position. And then slowly let the knees tip out again. And then bring them back up. So we're just going to do a couple of repetitions of the opening and closing the hips, but with the back flat. One more time. Knees up and in, press together, keep the back flat. Slowly let the hips open again, keeping the back flat. And then back up to rest or start position. Okay, so again, just let your legs be straight and notice how that feels. If you've gone slowly and carefully, you should start to feel even more comfortable through your hips now and your lower back. All right, so we've one more little combination we can do, and that is we're going to do the opposite of what felt logical. So we were arching as the knees went out and flattening as the knees came in. We're going to do the opposite of that. We're going to arch and bring the knees in, press them together, and then flatten and let them go out. Arch, bring them in, flatten, knees go out. And one of these may feel more comfortable than the other for you. That's okay. By going through all the different permutations, we're going to cover all our bases anyway. Back flattens as we let the knees go out. Back arches as the knees come in. And just do that one more time. Let the back flatten as the knees go out. Let the back arch as the knees come in. And relax. Okay, so we've gone through a couple of different permutations there. Now let's go back to what we were doing initially, which was arching, letting the knees go out, flattening, letting the knees come in. So we're going to arch, let the knees go out. And just notice now if that feels easier or more open or like you have more range. Flatten as the knees come in. Do that a couple of times and see if you can make it feel smooth and easy. Arching as we let the hips open and flattening as we close the hips. And we're never stretching when we do this. We're always just working within our level of comfort, using slow movements to get some more range or more comfort at the same range. Okay, and back to rest. All right. So the last thing to do is just check your range again. See if your knees feel more comfortable to open up when you just leave your back static. So you're not going to flex it, you're not going to flatten it or arch it. We're just going to do what we did at the start, which was just let the knees tip out, see how it feels, see how far they can go. And that certainly feels like I've got a bit more range there. And even if it looks visually like you didn't get more range, but it's more comfortable, that's an improvement. And let's bring them back up to the start position and let the legs be straight and see how that feels. And that now feels much more open in the inner thighs and the groin. Back feels nice and comfortable. And the legs just feel pretty loose generally. So there's a nice, easy and simple way to free up the hips and make them feel more comfortable, less tight, more relaxed. Give that a try. Let me know how you get on. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.